Kanpai!
I can talk with my mouth full because I'm amazing. Hi, welcome
Throw
to...
your mouth for good luck.
Yep. Welcome to episode 83 of Kanpai Cast, where we're going to be talking about, like, some bad shows that may have had some good points, or bad shows that were just bad and other shows that did it better. It's a little bit of a loosey-goosey sort of topic, but in general, it's bad shows and ways that they, good things that could have been. But before we get into that, we've got, just the tiniest bit of housekeeping, and that is essentially, we have a Discord. Did you know we have a Discord? You can find the link to it in the description. I think it was mostly me and Tobiah that set it up, I think, but, some good stuff there.
Yeah, kind of helped.
You can come there, you can tell, what do we got? What do we got here? We got, where's that? We got
show recommendations.
Yeah. We got Xeno's waifu addiction.
Which hilariously, I have not got a post in whatsoever. It's like Thaylien's got a post in there.
There is one post in there that I'm updating, which is my waifu addiction.
Yeah. So in my waifu addiction, Thaylien's got a waifu addiction. We've also got a shorts channel for various things, and we've also got a meme dumpster.
To be fair, I don't think it really told me that Thaylien had started this thread. That's really weird. Anyway, yeah.
It only shows you like the new point, like very briefly.
But yeah, come hang out, come have fun, and I think that's really it. Unless you want to, if you I don't know if we're gonna have too many timestamps in this episode, but because it's a little bit loosey-goosey, but there should be some. And if you want to jump to a specific part of the episode, like if you want to see me talking about Berserk 2016, trying to find some good stuff in that, you can there's some timestamps right down below there that Thaylien kindly keeps up with and curates for us. And you can just skip right to the part you want. And I think that's it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think shall we jump into yon topic, gentlemen?
Yeah. Yes. Let us yonder hither noweth stuffu.
Good proper old English.
Right. I'm happy to go first if you guys are happy for me to go first.
Sure. Let's set the tone for this.
So the first thing I kind of like, one of the shows that one of the biggest, most pop culture based anime that I rag on a lot is Death Note. Death Note has some relatively redeeming qualities to it. Like, some people think that it's an amazing piece of fiction, and I kind of disagree, but mostly because of the did you really think this through kind of scenario. Death Note is great at being a supernatural mystery with the whole, it's kind of the Sherlock Holmes philosophy. Whatever, so if you've eliminated all of the possible outcomes, then whatever is left, no matter how improbable, is most likely the actual solution. And though I like that the portrayal of our Sherlock Holmes-esque character, L, is completely mind-bafflingly dumb. Right? And we also have the antagonism and things like that. So, how could you jump to the forethought of, we will all these people that are dying by defying the laws of nature and physics and all this sorts of weird and wonderful shenanigans. How can we determine how they're dying? And the way that they sort of determined it kind of would only allude to someone having read the script beforehand. At least that's how I feel about it, right? The whole concept of playing a tennis match to, like, is he or is he not the world's best serial killer is kind of, like, mind-bafflingly dumb. But that being said, the setting is still a really good, interesting narrative. You know, what if... So we have these death gods, right? Why couldn't there be a counterpoint of a life god? And a life god discovers that Ryuk is doing this stuff with Light Yagami on Earth. So a life god goes ahead and actually gives L some ability. Like, you can't interfere too much, but some minor ability. Maybe it's just some knowledge. Some, like, you know, tells how the Death Note works. But that's it. So that alone...
The thing is that Ryuk doesn't want to be doing this stuff. He's been forced into it. So a life god wouldn't necessarily Ryuk's not trying to interfere. So a life god might not be able to actually interfere without. I mean, maybe if L could be like, I assume that there's some mystical fuckery going on here. I'm gonna consult somebody who might know about this, and then they get him in touch with the light god. Maybe.
But what I mean is, it's a simple case of that, yes, Ryuk isn't actively doing this stuff, but he was the one that chose to just drop his Death Note on Earth just to have a different spice of life. Because, you know, he says in the very beginning that he is bored because they're doing the same shit in the Death God realm as every other Death God, right? So he actively chooses. Well, I'm pretty sure. I mean, with
I thought it was an accident.
I think it's like, oops, I dropped it.
Maybe.
You know, so I feel like if that was the case, then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
Either way.
Either way. Don't see how that particular one would actually make sense in the context.
What do you mean?
Well, he's a death god, right? But it's the Japanese death god is a Shinigami.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have a counterpoint in Japanese mythology.
Right, so but we also have a main character named Light.
Yes, but that was the thing that I thought that that's the point I was going to get to on what I thought this did kind of right. But he's called Light because of the contrast of what he is versus what he could be.
Yeah.
You know, he's that.
He could be a force of justice, but instead he's... Yeah.
It's how a killer can be born from a sense of overborn righteousness, just as much from a sense of overborn cruelty and anger. But extremes in and of themselves are as much of a problem as, you know, apathy.
Yeah. I mean, lawful evil is a thing that doesn't exist.
You're right. Having a force that... I think you're right in a sense. Okay, I think that the whole series could be improved if L had some kind of spiritual support.
Yeah.
Something that he could consult.
Or if L died because he didn't have that, and then the girl that followed him, as awful as she was compared to I mean, she wasn't really awful, it's just that she was exactly the same character, so there was no point in killing L. But if L had died and then she had that connection, I think that might have worked.
Okay, maybe he came to be like a spirit guide to her.
Yeah, we're making the show better.
He could see the...
Well, that's kind of the point.
He could see Ryuk.
Since he can see things.
Help her out. He couldn't actually interfere because he's only a spirit.
Right.
But he could do things that help. Like writing Shinigami across the wall or something like that to give
in the what you call on the mirror.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Red rum over there.
So a series that I think is a brilliant mystery. Unfortunately, it loses that supernatural element to it. Is My Home Hero. Like these characters are written very smart. I think that the writer, the author of this series, really did the homework of, well, how would, like, they did a real in-depth analysis of their own characters. How would they really handle this stuff. Like, one of the best scenes in My Home Hero is pseudo depicted here. The father of the family has been kidnapped and is being interrogated, and what they end up doing is they end up carrying him up a large flight of stairs, and they put him on a I-beam that is suspended in... Oh, here we go. Oh, no, it's not an I-beam. It's just a plank, right? So he's suspended out, and he can feel, like, the open space around him. Like, you know, a lot of people have this, like, you can't see anything, but you can just feel that there's space around you, sort of thing.
Well, you can probably feel the wind moving around him in ways that wouldn't in enclosed space. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's
here's
kind
the thing,
of the
though.
opposite of what happens when you put on VR headsets, is where you forget the space around you because you see something else. In this case, it's the opposite. You can feel the space around you because you can't see it.
Yeah.
Yes, you get, like, hyper aware and things like this. And one of the brilliant things was that it turns out what he thought he was on top of a building in a city, right? And they're just going to push him off the building, and he was just going to fall and plummet to his death. Instead, he was actually in a factory, a really tall factory, and they ended up having him suspended on an I-beam. They push him off to actually hang him upside down, right? So there's the fear, the rush, the adrenaline, and everything. And they've also got him having the blood collect to his head and things, and he's not able to think properly. So they try and actually torture him to get the information out of him. And it's really well thought out, right? That's one of the really good points of this series, is they obviously researched their own characters again and again and again. How would the character actually think about this given their character description? That's what I love about this, and this is what I wish they put a little bit more effort into Death Note about.
Yeah, sounds like they also may have questioned, like, you know, is this actually possible? Does this make sense? Not just from the character's perspective, but in, like, from a logical perspective, from an outside, like, observer sort of thing.
Let's take a small pocket TV, put it in a crisp packet, and then. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hand over to Nasuth. You go.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about. Oh God, let's talk about. Rusted Armors. Let's talk about Rusted Armors.
Okay, cool.
I'm loath to bring up the screenshots because that is the worst part of this show.
They're there now.
That said, the rest of it's not super great. What I could watch of it, the characters were very shallow. You know, it was your typical sort of. Well, I've fallen into this historical drama zone in anime where they cover these older periods, and they do it in a very stage play sort of fashion where you've got these character archetypes. They usually have, like, it's always the ninja or the Ronin or the samurai, the disgraced samurai, and the weird not perverted doctor, but the physician who's seen as weird because, oh, he's experimenting with dead bodies. How dare he? That's disgusting. You know, that sort of thing. And the disgraced priest. You've got all these archetype characters that always seem to show up. And they were in this, but they weren't really done very well at all. It was mostly about their weapons, and that's fine. It's another trait that they all seem to share. They all have, since it's sort of on the cusp of a higher level of technology, they always depict these weapons as almost magical and mystical because, in a way, anyone who owned something from, like, the British, you know, where they had firearms at that point, that's gonna be super crazy to somebody who may have, like, a very basic firearm but mostly uses, you know, katanas that have been beaten a million times to make them actually pure metal and not full of impurities. So it could have been good, but they decided to go with a really terrible CGI art form, and the backgrounds, as you can see, and it just didn't really develop the characters very well, especially the enemies. But I'll tell you a show that did actually do it really well, and that would be Revenger. which was just last season. I know you didn't end up liking it, but it did that historical period piece really well. It had style. It was beautiful. Every frame was like beautiful to look at. The characters, they actually spent time working on their personalities and what drove them. Gosh, what else can I say about it?
I will say though, I do feel that when it comes, I can't really speak on behalf of Russell, but I do feel that the characters in
Revenger
were very.
They were still archetypes, definitely.
No. But they were better than that. They were. I want to say. Trying to think of the words. I want to say like asymptomatic of the time period. Like they feel like they would come from that time period. My biggest complaint was I don't know who these characters are, right? But at least they're acting in a way that's more in line with regular people, not just go, oh my god, those wacky shenanigans. Yeah. Oh, let's get my buzzboard, and so in that regard, it was cool. I do think that some of the stuff was utterly ludicrous, like the whole, was it the spikes that were in the shoes that he was using to launch him? It's like, that would give you more friction. How are you able to? That's what, So.
Well, it's the same way that cleats can help you like move better on surfaces. I guess I don't know. It was its first invention of cleats. Yeah, that one was kind of ridiculous, but like the bow was really cool. The gold cloth never quite made sense, but was really stylish and cool. And it was like I said, it was just really good to look at. Whereas rusted armor was just terrible, just awful. Another one that kind of fits in that was hard to look at was, Bakumatsu Bad Boys, which we don't have to bring up because I didn't queue that up. But it was another one where like some shots looked kind of interesting and had a unique style, and then other shots were just like, what? Where did they waste the animation budget on this? Why does it look so ass?
Well, I think it's really prominent that you say this. I am going to try and bring it up while talking at the time. But I can bloody remember what the bloody screenshot was for it.
It's the guy with brown hair and like a kind of open mouth. You want me to find it?
Does not nail it down.
Oh no!
Not a lot in the anime sphere.
Is it not here anymore? Did we get rid of it?
Ooh. No! I know where it is. I know exactly where it is. Haha. It's under S because it's Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys.
Fair enough.
I think one of the biggest flaws, second off from the left. Second row, that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
I think one of my biggest issues with Bakumatsu Bad Boys is that character consistency is just all over the place.
Like you can tell it's very stylized and stuff, but if they kept this consistency, sure. But I'm with you. There are like some really far shots, especially. Not always. But especially far shots where things get. I know that they lose a lot of detail in far shots in anime because you just can't draw them. Yeah. But there's still like you can still kind of keep the model consistent in these. What are you doing?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that would actually change a screenshot, but it doesn't seem to.
Doesn't let us.
Giving us the hatred. Anyway, should we hand over to Thaylien?
Well, if you want to hand it over to me. I'm actually going to start with the show that I can't really redeem at all, which is Najica Blitz Tactics.
Hey.
He's taking the chaos route.
I kind of am. This is a show that had the potential to do something interesting. The story it sets out, if you actually describe the story, it's not a bad idea. The idea that there is a global spy agency being concealed behind what an average international business, and that we're right on the cusp of developing actual AI, and one of the older hands at the spy game is being tasked with taking on one of these AI types as an actual partner. Just, almost like the old detective thing. I don't need a partner.
Oh, like good cop, bad cop. Buddy cop films.
Yeah.
Like a buddy cop film, almost.
Yeah.
It could have had something really potential there. But when it comes down to it, I think the only thing that a lot of people would ever remember about Najica Blitz tactics, if they were around with the show, like I was, is there was a stupid, one of back in the old YouTube poop AMV days, somebody just made an entire AMV of just the butt shots with accompanying fart noises.
Of course.
And put it set to music, so it was a full musical thing, but played on a fart tube and with just the butt shots. And there were enough
I think the fart tube is called the colon.
That they could do the entire song. That was the thing.
Oh.
So, but the thing is, it was one of those shows that you had to realize it had to exist for other shows to be better. We talk a lot about shows that are really iconic and really have their, if it wasn't for this anime existing or this movie existing, we wouldn't have other anime. We wouldn't have the kind of recognition it does at the moment. No Akira, no Matrix. And that was a big thing before the rest of the Matrix movies came out as a statement. They just... But this one had to be the bottom of the barrel in order for the barrel to see, oh yeah, now this is the bottom, we need to go up from here, And that's a really odd place to be in terms of a standing.
Oh, shoot! That explains. They were behind. They were the same studio. Well, it's two studios. They were one of the studios behind. One of the studios behind Project Echo.
Right.
That explains so much.
Yes. So they took a good premise and they did ruin it. They tried and they failed. And if they hadn't, no. I put it this way: it's like the old comic book movies that were made as cash grab, in a German tax haven, and they were so terrible. All they had in common with the original source material was the name of the characters and the costumes, and sometimes not even the costumes. They were just bad. We know this. The original, the Daredevil movie and the Elektra movie. They're iconic for how
the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, the Green Lantern movie. Yeah.
God, the first Deadpool who was in was it X-Men 4?
Oh, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah, when I think Deadpool 2 tried to fix that by they did a little scene of him traveling back in time and shooting that version. So no, he's just come on, just leave.
Yeah,
nothing bad's going to happen to you now. He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
If those didn't exist, right, as a potential thing as a cash grab in the first place, comic book movies wouldn't have had a base starting line to go up from to become that first wave of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that just took off and did so well. Okay, that was like the golden era of comic book movies was that point. And okay, some of them have let us down recently, but the same with anime. Without these bottom of the barrel shows, we wouldn't have the better ones.
You gotta know how terrible something is before you can know how good something else is.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I completely
Oh.
understand.
That's why I recommended to you two to watch the first 3 episodes of it when I did. It wasn't just because I hate you.
I know, it kind of feels like you do. But I think one question I have for you is, in anime, what is a good equivalent to Najica Blitz tactic? I'm really hoping you don't say Spy Family.
Ah,
No, not in the slightest.
Armitage.
There's a better version
Yeah.
of it, in a sense.
Shut up.
There's a better version of, well, a better show that kind of explored similar things with how, an international spy agency could, or a galactic spy agency, still wasn't a good show. And in a sense, it was Kiddie Grove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one actually did things better. It took this premise of, a one strong, one technical, almost buddy spy thing, and hid them in this agency. They were receptionists for the most part, but they had their own ship. They went off and did secret missions, and turned out that they were actually the 2 most powerful agents that the agency had, but they disguised them by just by naming their abilities as a lower class thing, so they ended up being ranked C or D class in the eyes of everybody else.
It also
And,
it also portrayed like the difference between, well, I would say it's like, super capitalism gone too far sort of thing.
yes,
Where you have the whole quote unquote nobility and the labor class, and then it was like, the nobility were trying harder and harder to create a bigger and bigger divide between them and the labor class by introducing automation and things like this. And, well, no, I'd rather get a robot to do that job. The job you're only good for, Timmy, is for licking my boot heel.
and there was the whole overarching plot of there being a giant arc they were going to get onto and leave, basically.
Yeah.
They were going to leave the commoner class behind to deal with their own problems. So that whole thing, they did a better job as a series. It wasn't quite the same thing, but it did have a similar feel to how they were trying to portray things.
Yeah.
And it was just straight up better. The characters were actually portrayed better. The animation was better. The fan service was not quite so in your face all the time, every single episode.
I kind of wish the title wasn't so inappropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Still.
Should we move on or keep going?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that was my irredeemable one.
Okay, right. So, irredeemable, yet he still loves. I think the next one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to prioritize this. I want to talk about Neon Genesis Evangelion. Right? Because again, another one that
My favorite.
loves to rag on. There are so many cool redeeming parts to Evangelion. Like, the whole point of this series is to be as well. I don't think this is the point of it. Go on.
Question: Are we just talking about the original series, or are we talking about the entire spectrum of Ava products?
No, I'm talking about the original series.
Just the original series,
because I've only watched the first 3 of the 4 movies, and I can't remember them at all, and I have to rewatch them just to watch the 4th one, and I can't be bothered. Right? So with Evangelion, it's been branded as a deconstruction of the giant robot genre. I love the idea of a deconstruction of anything, right? The whole idea of they go to the extra mile of thinking, well, how is the giant robot powered? They have these umbilical cords and batteries. If the umbilical cord gets disconnected, then the batteries only last, I think it's maximum 3 minutes before the Ava shuts down. Which again is brilliant, right? The whole biomech side of things. There are so many elements to this that were so well done. There was the organization side of this was massive. The city, to avoid catastrophe, to avoid damage, sunk into the ground. People were sheltered, I don't know how many miles underground, right? So it was really well thought out to how, the whole, oh god, instead of it was like the pilots were in this oh crap, it's oxygenated fluid. So, you basically have the fluid in your lungs.
LCL.
Oh, god. Yes, LCL, yes.
Yeah. Which
scientifically
it's not,
doesn't work because the human
it's not actually
just refuse it.
It's also not actually liquid oxygen. It's some other weird kind of. It's supposed to be kind of like amniotic fluid in a weird way, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be amniotic, some form of amniotic fluid. But the whole point was that it allows you
oxygenating your blood directly, so you can actually be cushioned inside.
Well, but it also creates
shocks.
It also helps like connect you mentally to the Ava. It's really weird. It's really weird.
The screenshot from earlier where it's actually literally inserting the blood capsule into the spine.
Yeah.
Straight down into the middle, center of the chest, rather than like being in some cockpit.
Yeah. So there are so many elements to this that are like really well done. I mean, back in the day, look how much fidelity the actual shot has. Right. It is crazy good. Right. Some of the issues that I had with, and actually, one thing that's really cool, if you had to repair it, you just flood the bay that the Ava's in, and you just drive around in a little dinghy, right? And you just go up to it and repair parts. It's like, oh, we need to raise it up. So you just raise the water level up. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Instead of actually having like, oh, cool, you've got this weird bay
scaffolding
thing that. I could reach I could reach the knees, I could reach the waist, or I could reach the head. Fuck the shoulders, fuck the arms, fuck the legs.
Not tonight, Josephine. No. So also there's the thing with putting water in means that it's actually easier able to support its own body weight. Humans work that way too. So being a biomech, being able to be in water to support its weight as well. That's a really solid way of actually doing a biomech.
The biggest issue I have with this series
is the ending.
No. This is supposed to be a deconstruction of the giant robot genre, right? So they put in all the thought about how they would actually power the mechs, how they'd maintain the mechs, how the pilots would interface with the mechs, right? But they didn't put any thought into training the pilots to be pilots, right? That was the biggest bugbear.
Well, that's not entirely true. It's just that Shinji gets no training. Asuka's been trained. Asuka was made to be trained.
Was she?
Because yes,
it kind of conditioned in that way.
And Rey, in theory, you could say she was probably programmed with all that information. So Shinji's really the only one that doesn't know a goddamn thing.
And they even did go to the thing of trying to train him, in a sense. They put in a training thing where they had this whole thing.
That is true. Yeah.
Arc of target in the center, pull the switch. Target in the center, pull the switch. Over and over and over again. Try and desensitize him to the idea of it. And it didn't work. Shinji still panicked and wasn't able to do what the training gave him.
To me, it feels like, would you really give a, I don't know, $15 million fighter jet to someone that was clinically depressed?
You have to remember that Gendo's goals were not the rest of the world's goals, or even the rest of Seilei's goals. So yes, he would. But Shinji to know a goddamn thing.
It's also the whole thing of just exactly what the biomechs are that made Gendo try to give it a try. There was, and the only reason Shinji was even needed to go out was because Rei was injured that time.
Oh yeah, there are times when Gendo threatens to get rid of him all the time. Yeah,
the first time that Shinji goes out is specifically because Rei's in the hospital.
Oh, but also Eva Unit 01 rejects the dummy plug, and yeah.
Right. So, the show that I feel really does honor
an actual deconstruction,
a proper deconstruction, is Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka. Right?
That's fair. That's very fair.
This is a series that I have been we've taken a break for a long time actually, and I've been reading the manga since. This is a series that Nasuth and I have been watching, and the whole premise of this is there are 3 realms, right? There's Earth, the Fairy Realm, and wherever the bad guys come from, right? And the bad guys are these supernatural beings that basically look like these giant plush toys, but they are superhuman in strength. They have magical barriers. They have all sorts of weird and wonderful magical shenanigans. And as a result, they are just slaughtering humanity. The leader, the general of the fairy nation turns up, and or the commander, whatever you want to call it. They turn up and they basically say, we can give you I think it was like 9 or 11 magical girls. We can basically give your soldiers powers in order to actually, and they are military trained. So these girls that basically,
as you can see in this image,
they become military trained. They learn how to handle guns. They also talk about I've been reading the manga, and there's one point in time where they need to send in troops, like the enemy need to send in troops. And they do, there's actually a term for it, I can't remember what it was, but basically the enemy, they slowly advance their way in. They then make this sort of wall, right? And they teleport in their backup behind the wall of their troops, because the teleporting ones in can't do anything, right? They're immobile while they're being phased in. But so they got these dudes there that are protecting them while they're teleporting in. And again, this is a proper military tactic. This is great, and so it's really well thought out. It's very methodical. I wish it got a second season.
Yeah,
read the manga.
Definitely. What got me is the fact that Magical Girls, as a deconstruction of the thing, because this is a Spec-Ops force kind of thing. It's a military thing. They're not like Magical Girl Heart, Magical Girl Moon, or whatever. The first one we're introduced to, when the first episode of the series, Magical Girl Karambit.
Yeah.
You've got a Karambit knife. That's her magical power.
Yeah.
And it's her magical weapon. It's not a wand. It's not anything else. She's literally a up-close Karambit brawler.
Yeah. You got ones with flamethrowers. You got ones with grenade launchers.
And it's not all happy and it's power of friendship and love. No, stuff's dark.
Oh, no.
Asuka deals with not wanting. Yep, Asuka deals with not wanting to do this anymore, but she has to. It's her duty. It's it's really good.
She went through the trauma of losing loved ones after taking on this responsibility.
And losing team members. She doesn't really get on with the team members anymore because of the operations they've had to do and the losses they've actually suffered.
Yeah, I want to say there were 11 or 15, and now there's only 9 or something. I can't remember, but
No, there's 5. There's 5 in total.
There's 5 left.
Really low amount.
But there were more. There were a lot more.
It's a brilliant series, and I'm actually enjoying reading it. So there you go. That's me. I'm going to hand over to Nasuth.
Right, let's do... Oh, God. Which one do I want to do next? I've got some really bad ones here. Some really spicy bad ones. Let's do Those Who Hunt Elves.
Oh.
And this is another one that Thaylien made us watch, and I don't know whether it's because I don't have the nostalgia factor for it. You know, if I'd watched this in the 90s when it came out, I might have loved it, and I might look back on it fondly. But coming to it now, in the the 2020s, with all of the anime that I have under my belt, it's hard to come to this one and be like, yeah, this is enjoyable, this is fun. But that said, I think it does do a couple of things right. The protagonists are three protagonists, which are like, one of them is a martial artist, like a championship martial artist. One of them is an actress, and the third one, I don't know which. She's a schoolgirl that has a tank and a sniper rifle and stuff. Okay, but
I believe she's raised by her military dad to be able to do to have military tech knowledge.
That's probably that. Yeah.
And she happened to be in the tank when I think she was visiting a tank museum or something. She happened to be in the tank when transported to the other world. That's why she ended up with it.
See, that's not really explained in the first 3 episodes, which was a bit of a detriment. But
it's all that you've watched.
Yeah. That said, even though that the whole tag thing is really kind of weird and off the wall, none of them are really overpowered. I mean, yeah, he's a championship martial artist. He can beat people up real good, but he doesn't have magical powers.
Only
he
human.
Doesn't. Yes, exactly. The actress, she has to rely on her ability to, put on a costume or convince a crowd, do a good convincing speech. The military girl, yeah, she does have technology that this world is definitely not used to, but it's still just normal technology. If it gets damaged or whatever, that's it,
Got to try and repair it with what you've got.
Exactly. So I think
the only real boost they get in terms of
their companion, their little
their tech,
elven,
is that the ghost of a dog inhabits the tank. Yeah. So a spirit of a dead animal companion decides that it's going to take up residence in the tank, and so it can actually drive itself around without her having to drive it. That's about the limit of the enhancement to their.
Yeah, but that's just kind of a cute little animal companion thing in the form of a tank.
It's a cute little animal companion with a tank
with a turret,
artillery shell equipment. Yeah. Okay. So it means that they can all ride on the tank, and it'll just happily drive them along to the next destination.
But in an era of isekai shows where even when they say, "Oh, this is the protagonist with the weakest ability," it always turns out to be stupidly OP in some way, right? That's the world we live in today. Whereas Dosei Elves was an isekai that did not have overpowered protagonists. They were on a real quest, and I can't think of an equivalent.
I'm not sure when that crossover.
Actually,
you've got to know when we've got to find out when we crossed over, because shows back then, a lot of them. I mean, Escaflowne.
Yeah.
The protagonist had no powers. She just was a person that was taken to that other world and became kind of embroiled in the.
Even El Hazard, where they did have powers, they were always really weird and not necessarily always helpful. Like the teacher that could only that was invincible as long as he was drunk.
No, as long as he was sober.
Oh no, as long as he was sober, but he wanted to be drunk. Yes, exactly.
So it's just the strangest thing of when did that change? Where we went from. Yes, you go to another world, you get some advantage, but you actually have to use your wits, and you can't just be an overpowered protagonist.
The closest I can think of is Mushoku Tensei.
Actually, there's
modern
one
terms.
I've got here. There's one I've got, right? And I was thinking about this, and it's Handyman Saitou, right?
Oh my gosh, you are right!
Yes.
So, as you're talking about, I was thinking to myself, oh shit, yeah.
Because he has to use his wits, and oh my gosh.
Kind of didn't even think of it, but yes.
Yeah, because
So that's really modern. It's a return to that era, isn't it?
It kind of is.
One of the things that I feel that Handyman Saitou does better than those who aren't elves is in the first 3 episodes, it kind of really highlights not only his role in the world, but what the world is like. And I think that a lot of shows need to rely a little bit more on the world building as opposed to just, and now we're going around the world to do this thing. It's like, well,
I have no grounding.
If the world is as big as ours, I mean, you gotta be there for a while.
No other world would have invented the wizard with the giant staff.
Yes, that's true.
But all the characters
he can use magic, but he's so strong that he just whacks people with giant staff and they're dead. Or even space and can't turn.
Even though their wizard in their party is literally one of if not the most powerful wizard in the world right now, doesn't remember a thing. Like, he's constantly forgetting everything, so he's got a drawback to it, you know.
And that actually has a reason. You find out towards the end of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really well thought out. It's really well paced. It's taking the logistics of our society, our world, and everything, and putting them in this fantasy-based world that's just like, well, I can't do this shit. Like, what are you expecting me to do? And like, you know, actually,
that is a really good call.
Sells.
That is a really, really good call. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Are we going to hand over to Thaylien now?
Yeah,
we can do that. I'm going to go with Tenjou Tenge.
Tenjou Tenge.
Oh, so Xeno actually knows this one.
I do.
Yeah. Now, this one is actually kind of like almost a classic Shonen Jump kind of thing, but without any kind of the redeeming cartoony qualities of it. So, our two main protagonists is the blonde guy here and his best friend Bob, who is literally just a stereotype, and I'm really upset that that's all it was. They go to a new school. They're rowdy types. They're like fighting, and they think they're going to rule the school. But it turns out that the school they're going to is a school where everybody's a fighter and everybody wants to rule the school. And they are literally the weakest people walking in the door. So they immediately get confronted by people a lot stronger than them, and they get saved by people like this. They are the heads of the fighting dojo, I think, of one of the powerful families.
What a hairstyle, though.
Two girls are. Oh yeah, it's a classic kind of early anime hairstyle with the antenna and everything.
Oh.
And the fact that she spends the majority of her time concentrating her power, and so she takes the form of an 8-year-old girl.
Of course.
No, I thought it was like an old woman.
No, that's her. That's the older sister. She's not.
I thought
she's only like 2 or 3 years older than they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is the younger sister of the pair.
Yeah.
And the one that our lead protagonist is actually, romantically involved with. And surprisingly does actually get reciprocated in that sense.
My God.
It's a fighting shonen show where you've got the whole idea of training and getting stronger, and the protagonist has the ability to gain certain power. As a martial artist, he can learn the fighting style of the dragon or something like that. And there's a couple of cool scenes. That's one of the things it does do right is the visuals when fighting. Okay? It takes our guy here and gives him actual martial arts experience, and he gets stronger. He gets, faster. The downside of that, of course, is that his hair definitely gets pointier. The downside, of course, is his partner Bob, who his training is literally just to run. dragging a tyre behind him with more and more weight on it because
What?
he's apparently got the stereotypical physique that just needs him to run and run. And yeah, look, there's a certain amount of this.
I don't. What?
Yep, so they are fighting in two different directions, and so one of them decides to punch in two different directions, the other one decides to kick. So it's like a spinning kick. And of course, the only one that needs to kick in both directions is the one who do the best panty shot. So, but the actual fights are quite surprisingly good. So they have a little side character that's like it's the quiet, reserved, geeky kid who absolutely kicks our protagonist's ass the first time they get involved, because he actually is a martial artist, and unlike he was sort of like the bottom rung of the ladder before these two walked in the door. But even then, when you get him riled, he's a monster and will rip people apart. So they have these great progressive, bigger and bigger fights going on that mean more and more. They just get there in the worst possible ways, the worst ways of engaging. It's on the level of people die if they're killed dialogue. See, that's what she looks like most of the time, the older sister.
I see.
So, yes, I think there's also a real loss in the dub. They try to explain martial arts in Chi, or Ki, however you want to pronounce it, the progression through the elements, the 5 elements and how they interact. And in the dub, it just comes across so weirdly paced. I am wood on the progression of wood, earth, fire, gold, water. What did you just say? Because there are 5 classic elements in the Japanese key philosophy, but it's
like back in the early 2000s when they had
a lot more
the alert levels.
Yeah, it's
we're orange today. Well, what does that mean? We're orange today. Okay.
It's like that entire movie that was based that was an entire movie that was a live action, kind of like a Ninja Turtles kind of parody almost, with fighting kangaroos, and they called the entire everything was to do with Tao, which you mean Tao, the mystical philosophy that is spelt with a T but pronounced with a D, Tao. That's the entire movie that gets the pronunciation wrong. It's on that level of mistranslation or misrepresentation in the philosophy. So literally any shonen or seinen martial arts competition show seems to get their progression better than this. It is the worst version of a school fighting martial arts anime. But it does have a couple of redeeming points in the fact that when it actually gets around to doing the fighting and doing the martial arts, it does those well. It's just such a shame. Like, he's literally just a stereotype. it just the dreadlocks and the bandana, and they are it's problematic in ways that just wouldn't get to TV nowadays. Still, it's this one, unlike Najica, is at least a little bit redeemable when it actually gets down to what it's supposed to be talking about.
I pretty much echo everything Thaylien said. Tenjou Tenge, for the time, was a series held back. Mostly, sorry, in addition to what I loved it, but the problem was that there wasn't enough material for them to make a full series on. And there's one fight that lasts absolutely fucking forever, right? I back-to-back watched it, and it was just...
Is it this fight? Is that what you're saying, Thaylien? Is it this fight?
I think you might...
No,
yeah.
Some of them are just far too long. In some of them, they draw things out. It's not to the level of Dragon Ball Z fighting, but it's definitely dragging out the content that they had.
This planet has 5 minutes. 10 episodes later, 3 more minutes. Sorry, that's
72
Dragon Ball
episodes later.
Yeah.
Plus a filler arc.
Oh god.
In between, right? Well, if we're done there, should we move on?
Oh yeah, let's go. This one's...
Cool.
Can you wait? Hang on. Can you think of a show that does this better? Just before we.
Oh, literally.
Just any of them.
Any of the. Yeah, hell. Even. What's the one that Dino didn't quite get? The one that actually is literally Wukong reborn or reincarnated. The Chinese one.
Oh, the one that you couldn't watch because of the names. Like the names just it was so hard for you.
What? Fantasy
Fantasia Sango?
Oh,
No,
King of
yeah. That one. Even that one does it better in the sense
right.
that the fights actually go, the protagonist is no, God of High School, sorry.
Oh.
God of High School. Yeah.
I don't think we have God of High School on the system.
No.
Alas.
See, a lot of people kind of liked it because of it was it's a manhwa, it's the original one, and it does quite a good version of Wukong with his memory gone, basically.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, I think
you know it picks up. They do the whole thing of meeting the characters and meeting the mythology in a sense of this kid really is a god or he's an immortal and is fighting his way through a school that's all about fighting.
Okay.
And even that one, not a particularly good show because there's quite a lot lost in the translation of the manhwa, but even then does it better than Tenjou Tenge did.
I think I agree. There's so many points I do agree with you when it comes to God of High School, but there are so many things that with God of High School, like I can't remember which one we were talking about earlier, but basically it doesn't explore the world nearly enough. Like you say, the God of High School, the tournament, God of. So see, why is it?
I went and read the manhwa. I went and read the manhwa. They do the actual high school part is like the first season of Bleach. You know, you've got it. They after that they go off into the spirit world and explore that.
Right.
But the actual season we saw of God of High School.
Oh shoot!
Nearly enough exploration.
That image reminds me of what else I was going to say was like those who hunt with elves, and that's Made in Abyss, because the characters are very not overpowered and they're in this crazy world. And yeah. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, no, that's thank you. Yeah, that's a good answer.
Okay, so talking off the back of fighting and Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to talk about Dragon Ball Z. Right. So the problem, the problem I have.
Good one to start on.
Yeah. So Dragon Ball Z is pretty bloated. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is pretty bloated. It suffers with a problem of escalating power levels. A lot of Shonen Jump stuff does this, but it's like, you know, it almost, well, let's not even beat around the bush. It became a meme of having all these characters just constantly try to one-up themselves and one-up each other, and, you know, just like escalating power levels. It got to a point where You know, they were trying to make it make sense where people actually had proper power levels. And then I think Akira Toriyama just got so bored of this escalating power thing. He just basically destroyed it. He just smashed it with a hammer as soon as they got to Super Saiyan 1. And it was just like, yep, screw this whole power level thing. This is bollocks. I hate it. This is a stupid idea. I hate this idea.
On top of that is the transformations.
In what sense?
Got it.
Oh
yeah, because every character has.
There was a little bit where he tries. You can actually see it. Toriyama likes these the characters where the characters you're fighting are often super bulky and muscular and intimidating, but the true power comes from being a little slimmer, a little bit lighter.
Not always, though. Because look at Garlic Jr.
But he likes them. He likes doing that.
Yeah.
But
he likes deceptive appearances, I think.
Yes. So, well, look at it this way, because when you go through the first Super Saiyan, Goku, when he first becomes a Super Saiyan, you could, as the parody says, you could grind meat on his abs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. And he goes really muscular. It's the power overwhelming. Even look at Trunks here, okay, who was normally quite slim, and he gets bulky and muscular. But then he did the thing where, when they were training, Trunks and Vegeta both found the overpowered level. And Goku found it as well, where you get the full power version. They call it Yeah, and
you're essentially just Super Saiyan all the time, without even trying.
It's a stage between the first one and 2, where they
can maintain it without even trying, and they essentially are no longer.
Stop interrupting. You're getting it wrong.
The one I'm getting at is the super muscular one.
Oh,
yeah, right. The one that Trunks couldn't Cell with.
It's far more powerful.
I don't remember that.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
You get you might remember it from the parody. It's, where he puffs up his muscles and he's super powerful, but they comment on the fact that you've got all that power, but you've got no speed. And Cell even parodies it, and he really parodies it in the actual show as well. Basically, everyone can achieve this state. Boom, and its power's up. It's just, you can't hit me with it, and he recedes back to perfect Cell state.
I don't remember that at all. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so
time to go rewatch the parody.
They even comment on the fact that even Vegeta could probably do it, but he didn't, because the power he would gain wouldn't be balanced.
Benefit, yeah.
And so that is part of it. And then when you look at the next stage, when they go through, they've gone through all of Z and they get into this Dragon Ball Super kind of era, Super Saiyan God is really slim.
It's just like normal. It's just normal Goku with red hair. Yeah,
red hair. It's even actually, if you look at this Goku here, right? He's very muscular. He's very toned.
Yeah.
It's actually even slimmer. There's less muscle definition on him. With that, he actually looks younger.
I think that might just be animation quirks.
Well, no, that's a deliberate thing. They commented. Toriyama actually commented on it. He wanted Goku to look slimmer and younger because the gods are slim and young. The whole point of being a god. That's why Beerus is not
very lanky.
Muscular.
Right? Yeah.
He's very lanky.
And Zeno is a tiny little baby.
Yeah. So achieving Nappa state is actually not good for you in terms of Toriyama's mind. And yes, of course, you go through Super Saiyan version of Super Saiyan God, and then you combine it with Kaioken, and then you've got the completely different way, which is the Ultra Instinct version, and the completely different way, which is the Ultra Ego, and they've got these.
I don't think they've gotten to Ultra Ego yet.
That's
that's Vegeta, because I'm actually quite glad they did this. They diverged the two paths of Vegeta and Goku, so it's not just Vegeta constantly catching up with what Goku does. Vegeta finds his own.
Goku is blue and Vegeta is sapphire, which is different. It's different.
Kind of, but even then, so when Goku goes Ultra Instinct,
Yeah.
that's a power based on evading everything instinctively. So evasive that he can just never be hit. But Beerus teaches Vegeta the other way, the God of Destruction's way, which is, yeah, you take the hits because that's what a fight is, but you get stronger from it. That no matter how strong your opponent is, they can hit you as much as they like, but you're going to come back and hit them. And it's Ultra.
That really
Ego.
does
In
fit
fact,
their
it's-
different styles, because Goku's always kind of had
Yes.
that, he looks for the right opening and then he hits.
Yes. And so they've diverged the two paths in that sense.
Mm.
It's quite a good way of going through it. But again, that's a little bit too late in the series now. Now we've just got this rolling thing of Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan again and again and again. I think, God, before they
reset
made it
everything.
into Super Saiyan, before they fit it back into Super Saiyan Blue, it was literally Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is even harder to say in Japanese.
Yes, it was. Yes, that's true.
Anywho,
that's ridiculous.
So that's a huge diversion from Zeno's point. But
well, actually, no. To be fair, it's pretty on point with my point, which is the power escalation is just utterly off the wall. It is completely off the cuff. It's gone to the point of like, how are you people even still alive at this point? How hasn't the skin around your head developed such powerful muscles you end up crushing your own skull? I don't understand how you guys are physically functioning, right? And how there are always it's the thing is there's never a power vacuum, right? In a lot of comics and things, there's, you know, when a superhero beats a villain, there's a power vacuum allowing for an opportunity for someone else to step in and take their place, right?
They almost did that with Frieza. Almost. And then they fucked it up.
Shush. I want to get my point out, right? The whole point is that there's always someone stronger still, right? And one of the points is that Beerus tells Frieza, do not fight Majin Buu, right? Avoid Majin Buu and avoid the Super Saiyan, right? And weirdly enough, Goku, you know, is struggling to fight Kid Buu in his like ultimate form and everything. But you know, at that point in time, he could utterly trounce Frieza. So like, how much of a power gap? So the whole point is the power escalation is just off the wall, whacked off your face. It is ridiculous.
It's a lot like Superman. It's whatever the plot demands.
They did try one thing different in the Super, and that was, what's his name, Moro? So basically the power vacuum caused, they tried that. The power vacuum caused by all these other villains disappearing, all these other strong things, freed a mage called Moro, whose strength was magical, not energy based. So he was a mage that made himself powerful through his
Is that magic. In the manga, or is that in the actual show?
It's actually, well, I think it's actually coming in Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is that actually in the show, or is that in the manga of Super?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I want to finish my point. Shut up, guys. I love you both. Okay. Shut up. No more talking from either of you. Let me finish my fucking point. Right. That sounds like talking. No more talking from you. Right. Anyway. So the whole point is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a series that I feel really embodies the way that this could be done better, right? The big thing about each JoJo season is that it resets. It takes the characters, it basically gives you a whole new cast. What Toriyama tried to do with Gohan taking over the mantle from Goku, which unfortunately fell flat. Oh shit, I can't remember the author of JoJo. JoJo's
Araki.
Araki, thank you. Basically, Araki managed to do that with JoJo. It basically, I don't know if he just turned around and said like, no, screw you guys, this is about the next generation. I don't care what you guys think. It's about the next generation, and it works so well to the franchise's advantage because yes, you can have the most utterly broken ability with powers like the world, right? But you're able to throw the ultimate powers away and bring in fresh blood, and it just works. It works so goddamn well, and it's just not utterly ridiculous to the point of you're questioning, how is the Earth in one piece still?
Well, and even when he brings back characters like Jotaro, right? It's usually like, oh, I haven't practiced this in so long, I can barely do it like I used to. So he has reasons for them to no longer be as powerful as they once were. Like if Goku could just stop training for a few years.
I think the big thing is that with I don't think. What was his name?
Jotaro? Araki?
No, the Araki. I don't think Araki did it right with Jotaro and Diamonds Unbreakable, because effectively Jotaro was aimlessly wandering around the city.
Well, yes,
trying to find, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the way to handle it. But handling Jotaro in Stone Ocean was the best way to do it, right? That is how you deal with the unbeatable power. You knock them out of commission for a short period of time to then bring them back later. And it doesn't matter if they have, like, oh, I've not been training to use, like, okay, fine. I can imagine Jotaro getting weaker in his time stop ability, but not to the point that he did with Diamonds Unbreakable. It doesn't make the brain go good, right? But taking him out of action makes so much more sense. He's not available to do it. So that is the way I like power scaling, right? Fucking reset it.
Also like the fact that the power shifted from one type of power to another over the time. So
yes,
the first few series were all about Hamon.
Yeah.
And then when Hamon wasn't working, the villain tried something else.
Yeah. And not
so
only that
became the power progression of it was being able to find something risky like a stand.
Yes. And the really nice thing is that the transition between the two over Stardust Crusaders in part 3, yes, it was quite sudden. It was a little bit jarring, but you did see the Hamon come back
every now and then. Yeah.
When Joseph could still use it and everything. So that's it for Dragon Ball. God, that went long. Let's hand over to Nasuth.
Oh God, let's talk about Final Fantasy, shall we? Let's talk about not the Advent Children, which also had its problems, but at least it kind of works. But Spirits Within, which was visually stunning in its on release, except for even then there were some bits that were like, this is really Uncanny Valley. Like the still shots look pretty good, but when you see them in motion, there's just something wrong.
It was 2001, man. Come on.
No, but even then, even in 2001, it was like, that's not how things move. It's a similar problem that we see with some CG anime today, where even today they haven't fixed this problem, where sometimes it's like the characters look like they're moving through water, or their movements they start unnaturally and stop unnaturally, like quickly. There's no easing. But
that's why so many now do mocap, because
but even then sometimes it doesn't work right.
It's still not quite right.
I don't remember if there was mocap for this or not. I don't remember.
I don't think there was.
For the most part, the story was okay, and then it kind of falls apart towards the end, where it just gets kind of crazy. But God, it's been so long. Essentially, there is an asteroid that lands on Earth that brings alien ghosts with it, for lack of a better term, and they're like trying to get to our live stream, but our live stream is fighting back. And so it's all in this weird post-apocalyptic world where there's this walled-off city where the last of humanity is surviving. There may actually be a couple of them, but we're focused on one of them. And
this guy invented tech that's based off of our own spirits and our own life stream.
Yes.
It can ward them back.
Yeah. And they're trying to find, like, traces of our live stream to properly replenish it again in a weird way. And then she, like, the main character, she puts it inside herself and sacrifices her body to them, and it overwrites it's so weird.
Oh, no, that was it. It was harmonics. They were trying to use spirit, because apparently these aliens,
those aliens
have a certain harmonic wave to them. And if you can put together a wave that's the exact mirror opposite, which is true in sound, you can completely nullify it.
Yeah.
And so they were going to they were collecting living spirits from around the world, like the spirit of a plant.
There's a scene in there's one of these where they're looking for a plant, and
yeah, and one of them, because
there it is. There's the plant right there in the light.
Yeah,
at the base of the statue.
So what powers their weapons and their things is called oval packs, and one of their oval packs that was from a squad that was destroyed earlier in a war zone. They had to go and find that because that particular oval pack had a spirit resonance of the right thing.
Yeah, it's
So
really kind of weird.
So what's your
what's the thing that does this?
What's the redeeming quality and what's fall flat?
Oh gosh, what was it? How did I forget this? I had this all planned out in my head. So the thing it did really well. Oh my god.
Story, animation,
characters.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, no. I think it's the fact that it was the first one to really try this, and it it for what it had. It cost a lot of money, and it took years to come out with because of the tech. They built technology from the ground up for it, and while it doesn't hold up, it was still really good, barring a few minor uncanny valley moments.
It is the uncanny valley, but as far as it goes, a full CGI film like this had not been made.
I think without this, you would have never seen like the Clone Wars show, which
Avatar.
Or Avatar, yeah.
The actual movie with the CG blended with actual people. That kind of tech would not have existed if it hadn't been for things like this.
Yeah.
So
it also
of the time.
It also like introduced the idea of Final Fantasy to a much wider audience.
But I still, to this day, kind of wonder what the fuck it has to do with Final Fantasy.
Well, none of them are connected. No.
I think.
But even then, there's nothing that the normal.
It's the live stream. It's the live stream thing.
I think the big thing about this is the whole spirituality versus the other side of the regular flow of the world. Like those are the two things that really resonate here. And with with the finality of how we look at life, and we think that we are all knowing, we've sussed out everything. I mean, that's a huge metaphor that goes throughout all of Final Fantasy. We think we know exactly what we're doing, and in fact we're just doing the exact opposite. We're fucking it up, we're making it worse. And I feel that is a story trope that's really signified in the Spirits Within. This is something that it's okay to be wrong. Things like the oh shit, what's it? Ridley Scott? Or is it no shit? Who's the? Oh crap, I can't remember his name. The Avatar movies. Shit, I can't remember.
Cameron, James Cameron.
Oh,
Yes, thank you, James Cameron. Right, I think that James Cameron's Avatar movies also really sing true to the same story beats. It's like, you think you know what the fuck you're doing, but you're just fucking it up, right?
Yeah.
And the world's gonna fight back in some way, shape, or form. So I feel that, yeah, this definitely does bring it to a wider audience. I think it also shows that CGI anime is okay. It can be accepted. Yes, we have this uncanny valley stuff.
But look at this still shot. Like, look at the texturing of his skin. Even back, and imagine what they could do with that now.
Yeah,
if they redid this with, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they did it today, it would look so much better. But I think the big thing is that it shows that it can be accepted.
Yeah,
we've got shows now like the new Ultraman, which is good, but unfortunately, we also have shows like Rested Armor, right? We also have X-Arm. So we also have Spriggan, the 2021 Spriggan.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic, and I really hope for another season of it. It's all about how you utilize it, and they pioneered something that really inspired, and that's the most important.
The only reason this was so good for the era is because they cared enough to put the time and money, and it took a lot of both to actually make this come true.
I mean, look at the imagery as well. When you look at it. That's inside her dream, of course, but
still, yeah.
Yeah. So you couldn't.
Right. I mean, fuck. I would argue that this is inspired, like, a lot of the visual art style for things for, like, Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Should we... I think... Oh, yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, it's me. And me, I'm just going to talk about Sayuki.
Well, I'm just going to say, considering the time, should we make this our last one?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, if we're going to make it the last one, then I'm going to talk about Fruit of Evolution instead.
Okay, cool.
So this is last season's development, Fruit of Evolution, and it's a bad isekai where you've got your guy who is a nobody in the real world, and he gets dropped along with his classmates into another world and becomes an overpowered protagonist. He's given things that on the way that are just utterly overpowered in that world, like the ability to create magic. But I really enjoyed this one. This fits the thing that when Zeno pitched the idea of shows that we don't like that we watch anyway, and redeemable bad shows. This is the one that stands out in recent times because there is no question that it is a bad show, but there are so many things in it that it actually does that other shows don't even try. So I liken the thing to, like, Mushoku Tensei has a real thing with the internal battle that the protagonist goes through. The fact that he is, in his mind, a fat NEET with no redeeming social graces or qualities, and has suffered through that depression in his life. And it's lasted on him so long that even in his new one, he doesn't appear as anything else when he's in his own mind. To himself, he's still that guy. And he's trying desperately to change who he is. In this, in that same sense, even though our man here eats the fruit of evolution and becomes the idealized version of himself, he is still the fat little smelly kid that nobody seemed to like. And it's even shown when it comes to the second part of the season, the second part of the series, for part 2, where he reveals that much like his other companions that have eaten the fruit of evolution, he can transform back into the state he was before. Now, in the companions are great, honestly. You've got a gigantic pink gorilla called Saria, who falls in love with our man and wants to get married to him. And in fact, they never share a kiss when she's not in gorilla form, which is always amusing. But where she can transform back into a gorilla, and it's always because she's excited, because that's exactly
she's comfortable with that form. That is who she is.
Comfortable with the fact that she's comfortable, and she fell in love as a gorilla. So the human part is just like icing on the cake for her. But he never wants to be that short, fat kid again, and showing it to his companions was a real moment where he felt like he could show them some vulnerability. And that's something that a lot of the shows don't actually do. They don't ever take you back to who the character was before they were powerful, before they were anybody in that world, and say, yeah, no, this is what I am without the redeeming superpowers. And so that that's a nice touch. You have the utter insanity that is the second half of the series. The part 2 does lean so hard into the parody. And the ending of it just blew me away for how stupidly crazy it got. But they do, they'd actually go through the thing of when you think the character has, everybody thinks they're dead, and they're actually going to get up and say, oh, because I survived due to Deus Ex Machina, or this person saved me. No, the main character actually dies and has to struggle to come back to life through an actual challenge. As silly as it is, he does in fact die, and everybody is sad for the reason that he has died, which is, again, unusual in these isekai shows. Basically, it tries. The show wants to be better than it is, and that's what made me keep watching it. For all of the stupid tropes, for all of the ridiculous lines and the very strange characters it comes up with. This character up here is apparently absolutely addicted to her friend, the short fat kid who nobody likes. And okay, so he actually had friends in the real world. That was a bit of a retcon, it seems, but considering the thing is there from the first season, not so much. It's more of a what he thinks of himself rather than what is
what he thinks versus the reality.
Yeah. So in the reality, he did have friends, and he did have somebody who actually fell in love with him as the short fat kid, and he wasn't able to realize that because he was always so beat down by his classmates and by his life as the short fat smelly kid. But coming to this world actually did bring him out and able to basically express all the things that he wanted to, and maybe feel like he earned some of the things he got. So in terms of an isekai with the action or the combat, or just the fact that he's an overpowered protagonist, it's bog standard. There is no uplift from there, but it tries to have some depth. The characters it brings in, it tries to give them meaning, and the story beats it tries to hit. It puts the effort in, even though it never succeeds.
I have seen Mushoku Tensei, and you, sir, you are no Mushoku Tensei.
Exactly. So I mean, look at this. Giant pink gorilla chasing him down because when he realizes that she's a girl, he actually says, "No, you're kind of cute." And, really? And I love the fact that even the voice actor changes for the gorilla form. It's brilliant. So, no, they try. It's a bad anime that's trying to be better, and that in itself is enough to make me keep watching it. Through a full second season, and I'm glad I did, because I would not have had my mind just turned slightly off kilter by its ending if I hadn't watched it, which not a lot of shows manage to do to me these days. So Xeno dropped it, and I don't know if he's picked it back up again.
No, I watched the first season. I get everything you're saying. There's just like, as it's been joked, it is no Mr. Shoka Tensei. And I think realistically, if there are alternatives, I'd rather watch the alternatives. But if it's there to watch and I've got nothing else to do, sure, why not?
Yeah, but for you, the something else to do would be clipping your toenails. Let's be on the same level as that. Yes.
And of course, I hear bog standard isekai, and I'm like, nope, no, thank you.
Nah. So, of course, when I say that, of course, it's going to put people off. But when I started it, it was like finding just little fragments of gold in something, not enough to be worth more than it is, but that sparkle was there. And if they'd had more to the actual, magical isekai, if he'd had, he becomes a perfect example of himself, but he isn't actually very powerful. Maybe he's going to do one thing very well, and he had to apply it to different situations. Maybe if he wasn't just handed the most powerful dual sword techniques in the world by beating a boss, if it wasn't handed the ability to create magic for any situation and had to try some interesting way around it, that might have actually made this better. I mean, as it was, it just seems like the writers tried to do something, but the director had this thing of no, it has to be an overpowered main protagonist. He has to be this powerful, otherwise people won't watch it. And the writers are there going, no, that could be just. And
can we give him a personality, please?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. And the jokes were funny. I will never forget the fact that when a spy tried to join the Adventure Guild, he appealed to all of the judges so well that they actually parodied the end of Evangelion, with everybody standing around the blue sky, clapping and saying congratulations over and over to him. And that in itself gained it a point from me.
Fair. Right.
It's a bad anime with redeeming qualities, and that is the point of this particular episode.
I get it. Right, I think we're done here. Cool.
Yeah.
Right, so
I'm a little sad I didn't get to Berserk, but oh well. These things happen.
I mean, I think
you have a lot to say about Berserk, so.
Well, no, I actually could just briefly touch on it. Essentially, the animations.
Let's do another 2.
Sure.
We'll do number 2 of this. Another.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Right. So let us move on to the supporter questions. Is that what we're on now? Right.
Yes, we are.
Dominus Thraxeth asks, "What's that? You made it all the way through the episode to this point? Or maybe you used the fancy timestamps to get here because you couldn't wait to hear from the supporters. Either way, thank you. Please remember to like the video and leave a comment telling us how good your most hated..." Sorry, how good?
The good.
Tell us the good.
The
Sorry,
good.
tell us the good. in your most hated shows. Dominus Thraxeth also asks, do you think in the future ChatGPT will be able to tell us which shows to avoid because they're too mid? If it wasn't for the fact that ChatGPT would probably hallucinate that there would be a series called Elon Musk and Donald Trump get transported to another world after flying a Tesla through space.
That sounds pretty mid. That sounds pretty mid to me.
Yeah, I don't think it would be able to. What do you
then again,
think?
the anime world came up with the idea of what if Jesus and Buddha and something else lived
That
in
is
the
true.
apartment?
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
Anyway, moving on. Google asks, why did Interviews with Monster Girls not get a season 2? I ask this question every single time it's brought up. I think Thaylien, you put me onto the first season. I was just let down.
yeah,
Right.
it is.
Yeah. Google also asks, what's the most recent anime you've watched? Oddly enough, it's Konosuba, because I was watching it with a friend.
Nice.
Same here.
Assassination Classroom, which was amazing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of surprised.
You didn't like it?
I'm not gonna lie. No. Again, we've gone over this. I do like it, right? I am surprised you liked it.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. I thought it was great.
It was the thing of.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like it was a really interesting way of like explaining how teachers need to find ways to reach specific students. Like they were problem students, and they learned how to actually do good work by treating it like an assassination. I've got to take this problem head on. I've got to take it a bit, look, I'm going to pick it apart and have a strategy for it. And like, it's great. That's how you reach kids.
I mean, to be honest though, did you watch it because of that story in the news last week? Was it a couple of weeks ago?
No, I've always been meaning to watch it. I've always been meaning to watch it, and then I was looking for stuff to watch on Hulu, and there it was, and I was like,
Okay. What about you, Thaylien?
Oh, it's Konosuba.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, as in
the new one.
The new one, Mega Man one.
That's
the most recent anime I've been watching.
Right. I've been watching season 1 and 2. We started season 2 with my friend. So funny. Yeah. Yeah, so Thayfod Bimblebrox, asks, on the last episode of Supporter Question Z, we learned what anime the cast thought the others should put in. In this episode, it's time to find out something new. What superpower would each of the cast most enjoy having?
I want a pocket dimension that I can go to where no time passes while I'm there. That is my superpower.
What, just so you can nap?
Oh, that's a good one.
Basically, yeah.
So you can do anything.
Yeah.
No, well, only. That's true. Well,
I could go there. I could go there and knit
the internet.
No, but I can play offline games.
Yes.
Oh my god, we could finish Elden Ring.
God, think of all the anime you could finish in that time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like, you guys are so mid.
Go for the complete, history of anime in that time. Question.
Well, yeah.
No time passes for you, for us out here, Nasuth. But does time pass? Do you age?
That is the difficult problem to get around. Is that time would have to pass for me, but how do I get around the aging problem?
Would you age?
Yeah. But I'd still take it.
Nasuth.
I'd still take it just for the naps.
Yep, that's a good point. So, which one would you most enjoy having?
I don't know. Kind of always love the idea of teleportation.
Yeah, that's always been my second favorite. It would be really nice if I could open the pocket dimension to anywhere I want, because then I could go into it and effectively teleport.
I mean, a part of me would say I'd like it if not only could I teleport in on Earth, but also between dimensions. So like, it would a case of like, people from all dimensions could go between each other, it's like fantasy worlds and shit like that. I don't know.
Mine's always just been a simple one. My superpower I'd most enjoy has always been a simple one: flying, but with wings. Like big angel wings kind of thing.
You'd have to have like a massive chest, sternum, in order for that to work.
No. It's a superpower. You wouldn't actually have to have.
Oh, okay. So the wings are magic.
The wings are power.
I'm just gonna say, don't go to America. It might misconstrue a few things. Anyway, so
that's the fun of it.
They'll probably shoot you down with nets. And just like, oh, we got it, guys!
Your save has arrived. Christians, you were right all along.
Just stay away from the.
What are you doing? I'm British! Oh, Jesus, British all along. Thayford Bimblebrox also asks, but now, the twist. What superpower would the members of the cast think would be even better for each other?
Oh, I know Xenos. Xenos is the ability to have a fully cooked cup noodle of any flavor he wants, anytime he wants. Just magically pops into existence.
That.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
I've got one for you, Nasuth,
which
is the ability to physically transform, regardless of mass or consequence, just based on your own imagination.
I like that.
Could be anything, anyone, just based on how you want it to be.
I know what Xeno wants mine to be. The ability to shut up for 2 seconds.
No. Actually, to be fair, what I was going to go for you was the ability of money, right? So just basically, you just had money. No. For
Thaylien?
Oh,
for me. Oh.
No, for Nasuth.
Every time I open my wallet, there's $8.50 in there.
No. Whenever you buy anything on your card, you always have enough to pay for it. That's what it is.
That's a good one, yeah.
But Thaylien would be he'd never have to sleep ever again. Yeah.
Oh no, let's sleep.
No. Never have to sleep. You can sleep, but you never have to sleep.
It's always like practicing being dead. I do like doing that.
I know what Thaylien's would be.
Okay.
No matter what he cooks, it always comes out perfect, like 5-star Michelin perfect.
Wait, didn't you already give him one?
No,
I gave him one. You gave me one.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Right. Are we good? Are we balanced out? Are we moving?
I believe that is.
I think that's good. Yeah.
Cool. Right. So moving on to the comments. First, from Kanpai News, Strong Michelle says, "Bring on the new Street Fighter movie. We need more memes." Oh,
of course.
Yeah. Zrugal says, "The fact that an 18-meter tall anime figure can play rock paper scissors is kind of crazy." Yeah.
Just let it win.
Right. Let it win. Right, and now on to the cast's episodes. Edward Paddock says, Nanas has been showing her face for years, actually, just not often. I didn't know that at all. I only knew it the most recent. Iron Mouse has an autoimmune disorder. She has no white blood cells. Hence, she lives in a bubble, basically.
Yeah.
I remember we were like, why? Yeah. There was last week. There was a little bit of confusion about what she was like, why she was.
No, it got there somehow, and it really did affect her body. So it was,
Okay. Zrugel says, I think women are more successful with VTubing because people like seeing cute things. The only VTuber I know is Nasuth. I've heard of a few others, but have not watched more than a few minutes. To be honest, I got to a point where I was just binging Shy Lily reels on, and actually, oh crap, what was the Instagram reels has actually shown me a load of Gorgura. Finally fucking getting her name right
Yes.
now. Number of times I've like, you know, I just kept on saying like, "Hey, is this how you pronounce it?" He's like, "No." Yeah, I just get it wrong. Strong Michelle, Zrul, and Edward Paddock say pickle juice. So I think that was the code word for how far you actually got.
And if you've made it this far...
And if you've made it this far, it's time for the memes!
Yes. You're right.
We have daily memes on Twitter, so twitter.com/Kanpai_cast. Soon they'll be both on Twitter and on our Discord server. However, I have not managed to get that hooked in yet.
Soon.
I've been busy. I've been busy! And also
trust him, he's an engineer.
Look.
Yeah, I am actually. So yeah, time for the memes. So,
all right. Meme number 1. Girls in Panzer is rated as the anime with the worst fandom according to a list on Crunchyroll. Me, a Girl in Panzer fan, never before have I been so offended by something I 100% agree with.
Typecast's a funny man.
I don't know if...
Apparently it's a really toxic fandom, but also, like, the anime is amazing, so...
Yeah, the anime is really good and really wholesome and everything. I am shocked to hear this.
Completely avoided the fandom, so I didn't know, but...
Yeah,
I've never actually watched it,
if this is true. I question if this is true. Anyway,
I mean, it is Crunchyroll, so God only knows. This is an AI-generated anime opening.
Oh my god! Oh, what is happening? What am I experiencing? What is going on? This is nightmare fuel.
Okay, all right. That's
enough. I have to go to bed.
Well, we're moving on to something much better, Xeno. An Irwin meme. Why don't anime villains make friends so they can defeat the hero with the power of friendship? Sorry, that was a strange thing to ask.
I hate you. I hate you.
Mom, can we have Chainsaw Man at home? Or can we have Chainsaw Man? No, we have Chainsaw Man at home. Chainsaw Man at home. Lawnmower boots. Build your dumb childhood inventions.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so bad. That's so fucking bad. Oh.
Meanwhile,
yo, what the fuck am I
So this is the one.
What the fuck?
This is the one I tweaked to add the theme music to. It was using like some weird techno song at the beginning.
Oh my god.
And it was also really like the beginning part was also really long. I was like, this doesn't need to be done. So I
it was.
tweaked it a little bit.
Okay.
Right, and finally, anime figures are just young people Hummels. Changed my mind.
What the fuck is a Hummel?
You don't know what a Hummel doll is? Or Hummel figure is?
No.
Oh my god, there were so... Well, the original ones were so much. But also, like, your grandma probably collects them. Or collected them.
At some point.
Pointing out these things over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Xeno is a boomer, confirmed.
I'm just saying my Guyvers are just horrifically expensive.
Right.
Like, so when we were in Japan, a friend of mine bought one of the Guyver figures. It was 300 quid.
Jeez.
£300.
Jeez. Yeah, I think some of these go for like
expensive.
tens of thousands, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, on to Thalyens.
Azpet Dragon. Cured a dragon of super cancer. Turned a dragon into a bodyguard with titties. Turned a dragon into a maid. Raised a family with a dragon girlfriend.
Oh.
I don't understand this one because I've not watched Area Ferretta.
That's fine. Okay. Let's get.
I did see another version of this meme too.
So moving on.
All right then.
Yep.
The female teacher when a boy calls her mom. A kawaii. The male teacher when a girl calls him daddy. Blonde Sasuke, green Naruto. That's right. And I kind of feel that's wrong.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's really good.
Brilliant.
Was that 3? No.
I think so.
Yes.
We'll never know.
Sorry, my deck board disappeared for a second. I lost track of where I was.
I love her, Mom. I love her, Mom.
Oh, I saw this one recently. Yep.
Oh, goodness.
Know the rules. Appropriate. I am going to groom a minor. Oh, you're sweet. I'm going to groom a minor. Inappropriate. Hello, human resources.
I Yep.
Yeah.
Dave will defend his world championship title.
Pinch me. Is this a dream? Wow, I've always wanted to see the D in action.
I'm sorry, what?
Everyone wants to see the D in
What?
action. Yeah.
What the hell?
Replay
No.
it, Casino.
No, replay that.
Okay.
Replay that.
Dave will defend his world championship title.
Pinch me. Is this a dream? Wow, I've always wanted to see the D in action.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Yep. Isn't that the Duke? Are they talking about the Duke? I think they're talking about the Duke.
I think so.
I have no idea, but that she completely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Talk about things taken out of context. Right. Alright, so my first meme. Dio Summer, I want to be just like you, the worlder. I was like, fool, it's the worlder. I was like, worry.
Okay.
Okay, at least Thaylien got it.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so my number 2.
Girl, my dog died. Let's go! That's a joke, right? Please tell me that's a joke.
Oh dear. Oh
Yeah.
dear.
When Kura reminds you that she's a shark, which are absolute savages.
Goodness me.
After last week's
Honestly.
after last week's episode, I thought I'd put that in.
It says shark-infested waters, but no, the sharks live there. They're just
Yep.
savages.
Right, this is my third one. It should have been me, not him. So basically, it's. Can you see the lines? Can you see the lines on the second image?
Yeah, exactly what they're all looking up at.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
some people may have to put this into full screen mode on their monitors.
They are very,
recommend you do
very
that so that you're
faint.
paying
There's also a
attention
link.
to us.
There's a link in the description. You
Yes.
know,
If it hasn't been deleted.
Right.
We're paying attention to you, so
Yeah.
pay attention to us.
There we go. The next one.
Right, let's see if this one actually plays right.
So best kind of pats: soft pats, rough pats, more pats.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With Silver Veil.
And it just keeps going and going and going. There you go.
Because
Right, so that's
more
my fourth. Right, narrator.
Oh, I almost
And
picked
is
this
why
one.
She's best girl. Me. Is this the narrator?
Yes. Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that one. I appreciate it. Then we
we
have
handsome
Handsome
Titan.
Squidward. Yeah, Handsome Titan. Is that my last one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's your last one.
There
That is
Right.
indeed. Oh.
This week's episode. Right. So next week we have the 6-episode follow-up. I need to catch up so bad. And yeah, so
Such
that
a
is
good
it. I am a bad boy. So that is it for this week's. Are you gonna punish me, Daddy? Anyway, that's it for this week's episode.
Ooh, wow.
Right.
Spicy
Thank
ending.
you all for watching / listening. And now it is
Me
time
too.
to bottoms up. Fuck, it's coming. It's time to bottoms up and Kanpai!
Bye.